Hi guys, have you used a headset before, a VR headset?
Yes, I played a game called Shark Simulator. It was terrifying. What game did you play, Ryan?
The Spider-Man swing animation on PS4. It feels like you're actually falling when you jump off a building and swinging around the buildings.
And I played Rick and Morty Reality, and it was a very funny game.
What do you think about using VR headset in the classroom, and what do you think about the potential?
I think it would be better than watching just a random video, so then you can actually see what happened at like a historical event. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like it would be good. You actually get to look around the place and stuff, get to see everything that's going on. So
I think it'd be a new experience for a lot of students who haven't tried VR headset before.
Do you think it might help you learn and enjoy like a specific subject more?
I think it'd be a lot more enjoyable and more active than just sitting down and writing.
it would be more fun to actually, just say it right and all that. You actually get to have some fun experience in a classroom.
I would feel definitely more engaged in the lesson.
How do you see VR to be used in some classes?
I would say history, so you could go back into the historical events like World War I, II, the medieval times, all that.
I would pick traveling. You would get to actually explore the location like France, Paris, Germany, Polish, Russia, and you get to hear all the languages and learn it. So
I'd say VR would suit a class like computing science, as you do stuff probably like coding, maybe designing stuff in VR, and basically just everything virtual.
So this whole experience that we're going to go through just now, you're going to be in a particular world that is very, very metaphorical, and gradually as you go through that, hopefully it should start to become apparent what it's been a metaphor for. And then what we'll do next period is reflect back on it to try and uncover, oh, that's what that was, and hopefully it'll all piece together. Hope that's the intention anyway.
Okay.
So, our success criteria you are the first Armadale Academy pupils to get a shot of this. So, your first success criteria is to get to use the VR technology effectively. Hopefully you should be able to identify how filmmakers use metaphors to tell stories, like we're saying, and also reflect on your experience of the VR world. Some basic ground rules in terms of when we're using this. Okay, so when you're using it in class, please make sure you're following exactly what I'm saying. Click on what I tell you to, don't click on things that I'm not telling you to, because that will hamper the experience. Do not open and definitely do not try and download anything that you haven't been asked to. We'll never really ask you to download anything, we'll have it all pre-ready for you. It will link back to you, they're all numbered, etc. We know who's used it, so obviously I know no one in here would do that anyway, but we'll say it anyway. There are wrist straps, so depending on the type of experience, this is one that I would say yes, put the wrist straps on. It just means that if you've ever used like a Wii before, if you move your hands a bit, or you accidentally, it can go flying, and I'll be honest, when I had it at home, I did that, and thankfully it all went back together okay. So you definitely need to put that on. Move around slowly. Obviously you will go into a VR world here, but try and also be aware that there are other people here, there's desks, etc. I'll talk about the boundary in a wee minute. There is, there we go, a barrier will come up. So you'll be in a VR world. What will happen is if you go to the edge of your boundary, there is a camera on the outside of the headset, so it will start to move away from your VR experience and actually show you the real world out there. So you will see when you're kind of coming to the boundary. So whenever that happens, just pull yourself back in a wee bit, and then that will mean you stay safe within your boundary. Some people, depending on the experience, might maybe start feeling a bit disorientated or queasy or anything like that. Obviously, if that does happen at any point, just take it off, give yourself a minute. If it's too bad, we can stop. But this one here, it shouldn't be, it's not like you're on a roller coaster or anything like that, so there's no massive amount of movement, so hopefully we should be fine there. In terms of how to do this, we're going to play a very, very quick video just showing you how to set up the boundary on the headset. If you just take out your headset, you may need to adjust the bit at the top of it. In terms of what you see there, you'll notice that there is a wee number, so this one is at number 2 here. Depending on how, if it's clear, just leave it as it is. If it's not, you can move the 2 goggle bits in or out. So there's 1, 2 and 3 is your settings. If it's not clear, move it to another one, and hopefully one of those will be clear enough for you to experience it then, okay? I think it asks you to do is put the right controller to ground level, and you'll see that there's a kind of grid that will move down with you. Actually, just holding it. So you should be pointing your right one, holding on one of the buttons, and then just drawing round to make it. So home screen, and then you're clicking on the waffle menu. This one, just how you're fortunate.
I don't know where I come from. I don't remember my childhood.
Okay, so if you put it on now, and
But
then
I
click
keep
this one,
having dreams
push
about
the
it.
A button, you're just looking for the one that says.
So I've started collecting
Click
them,
on it and then it'll start, okay?
hoping one day I will remember.
I can see the key on the right hand side.
Okay, take that off again.
Can I move?
Can you describe to me what you see?
Oh mate, it's like I'm in a house.
Yeah.
That houses are up in the sky.
Wow.
I'm looking through a window right now.
You found a chest?
Yeah, if I'm just an orb just flew out. Okay, they're friends.
Bread is so cozy. Always bring
Where are you? What do you see?
A house and the couch, you see.
What do you have to do?
Get a key. I've got it now.
It was amazing, man. That was great.
If you were to explain what you've just done with to somebody that's never used it, like what was the experience of the key?
Oh mate, it was magical.
Yeah.
It was really good. You got to interact with these little orbs. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
You got to see what it was like to be up in the skies, live up in the skies. It was good.
Did you get the main message of the key?
It was about refugees, and only like, what was it, 1% of them get into a new life or so.
So would you recommend it?
Would I do it again?
Would you recommend or do it again? Yeah.
Yeah, I would do it again. It was really fun. It was really fun.
But I think it was fun.
Good.
Well, I think, strangely enough, I think I was looking short for some reason, so I couldn't, it was struggling for me to like, try to touch stuff.
Did you set the floor?
Sam, then, so what do you think the key was actually about?
I think it was about refugees and how they're not really getting a new life and stuff like that.
Okay. And so how did it actually feel kind of going through the experience?
It felt good at the start. Got a bunch of friends, but then they started going one by one. It felt very, very sad.
What was that like then, that bit where you had the three of them and then there was, like, do you want to maybe explain what happened?
So what happened was a storm was coming and it was blowing them out the window, and I had to grab, but only had two hands, so I'd had to pick which ones I had to save and which one I had to let go.
And what happened to the one that you weren't able to save?
It flew out the window.
And what do you think of that in terms of, now that you've went through the whole experience and you know it's about refugees, what do you think that is actually being symbolic of what might refugees have experienced?
That your friends will might disappear, never know.
Absolutely, because it just flies away, doesn't it? You don't know where it's gone, you don't know if it's okay, and unfortunately that's the reality for refugees. Why do you think they called it the key?
Because there was a key in it. I really don't know why they called it a key.
That is fine. So I think do you remember it saying at one point about what refugees will often do is keep their key, even though they've moved to another country, they
still had the key to their house, but it was
absolutely,
destroyed.
Yes. Why do you think they maybe do that? Even though they moved country,
Because it still holds values, it's got memories, it's got all that.
Yeah.
So you still got happiness from that key.
And so what did you like about the experience?
I liked it. It showed you up in the sky. You could see all the other houses. It was nice. got to interact with a bunch of stuff. It was good.
Anything that you weren't as keen on?
Not really. Nah.
Okay, so would you recommend this then? Do you think
I
this
would
is a good way of learning about
100%
something?
recommend this to other people.
What do you think about using VR within the classrooms then compared to sorts of teaching?
I say it's much more better because you can actually feel. You can see when I was in the game and when I lost one of the orbs, I felt sad because I couldn't grab all of them, so it's a much better experience than watching just a video on YouTube.
Thank you.